If you ever stood behind a video store counter in 1984, you remember the constant whir of rewinders, stacks of handwritten membership cards, and knowing which tape would vanish first on Friday night. It looked simple, just rental slips and boxes on shelves, but these stores ran on fragile routines, obscure repair tricks, and a clerk's obsessive film knowledge. So why did this job, once everywhere, vanish almost overnight? Let's start with what it actually felt like when you turned that sticky key and opened the door each morning. The first thing you noticed when you walked into a video store in the 1980s was the smell. Not popcorn, not candy, plastic. Dozens of clamshell cases lined up on shelves, giving off that faint chemical tang, mixing with the scent of carpet cleaner and the lingering dust from cardboard standees. The front counter sat close to the door, the register ready, a phone within arm's reach, and behind it the hum of rewinders starting their morning work. New releases always got the prime real estate. One long wall with every box facing out, the covers glossy and bright. You could spot the hot titles by the empty slots left behind, the little laminated cards or plastic markers showing which tapes were out and which were still up for grabs. The rest of the store broke into neat rows: horror, comedy, action, kids' movies, each section alphabetized with a kind of obsessive pride. Betamax cases, already shrinking by the mid-'80s, usually huddled in a corner, waiting for the last diehards. Posters covered every inch of wall space: blockbusters, oddball comedies, martial arts flicks you would never have heard of. Cardboard cutouts loomed over the aisles, sometimes taller than the clerks themselves. Membership card boxes sat behind the counter, packed tight with index cards, each one a little record of someone's taste and late fees. Be kind. Rewind stickers clung to every box, a gentle warning and a daily mantra. The whole place buzzed with a quiet energy, even before a single customer showed up. This was your domain, and you learned every inch of it by heart. Unlocking the drop box was always the first order of business. Overnight, it filled up with a clatter of plastic. Tapes returned after hours, some rewound, some not, all needing attention before the doors opened. Each tape got a quick inspection, stickers checked, cases matched to covers, spools spun back to the start, if customers had forgotten. The morning hum of rewinders kicked in, 6 or 7 machines lined up behind the counter, each one working through a stack. Membership cards came out of their filing boxes, index cards packed tight with names, addresses, and running tallies of late fees. Every return meant pulling a card, crossing off a title by hand in the rental ledger, and sometimes noting a new fine in the margin. No computers, just pen, paper, and the hope your handwriting was clear enough for the next shift. On Mondays, a brown UPS box would land by the register, packed with new releases. Each tape had to be logged, stickered, shelved in its rightful spot on the wall, and entered in the handwritten ledger. Some stores made a ritual of prepping the new titles, setting up the display just so, ready for Tuesday's rush. Shelves got straightened, aisles vacuumed, posters swapped out if the studio sent something new. All of this happened before a single customer walked in. Every step was designed to make the afternoon and evening run smooth. Accuracy mattered. It meant fewer headaches when the line stretched back to the candy rack, and the phone would not stop ringing. The real work started long before anyone noticed. Behind the counter, the job demanded more than just ringing up rentals. Every clerk learned the technical side of VHS. A toolkit lived under the register, packed with splicing blocks, tiny screwdrivers, and rolls of repair tape. A snapped ribbon or a chewed-up leader was not a disaster. It was a challenge. You would open the case, trim the damaged section, line up the ends, and press them together with a strip of splicing tape, Hands steady, heart in your throat. Saving a tape meant saving the store money, and sometimes saving a customer's weekend plans. Rewinder's word all day and VCR head cleaning was its own ritual. A grimy tape meant a fuzzy picture, so clerks cleaned heads with a special cassette and a bottle of isopropyl alcohol, careful not to overdo it. Each tape that came back from a rough rental needed a check, stickers intact, case snapped tight, no rattling inside. If something felt off, you fixed it before it hit the shelf. But the real pride came from knowing the movies. During slow afternoons, the store TV played whatever you could slip in: martial arts flicks, black comedies, cult horror. Watching was part of the job. You memorized plots, actors, and even the box art blurbs, ready to pitch a film to anyone who asked. Staff-picked shelves became a badge of honor, each clerk curating a row of favorites with handwritten notes like, "If you liked Ghostbusters, try this." Jen's pick was the weirdest movie of 1984. You learned from coworkers, too. The veteran behind the counter would nudge you toward a forgotten gem or show you how to match a customer's mood with just the right title. There was no manual, only hours on your feet, hands in the tapes, and a growing sense that you were more than a cashier. You were a caretaker, a fixer, and if you did it right, a trusted guide to the wall of plastic dreams. By 5 o'clock, the phone never stopped. Every other call was someone asking, "Do you have Ghostbusters in, or can you hold the Terminator for me?" Clerks juggled the handset against the shoulder, checked the wall for empty slots, and scribbled names onto hold slips, sometimes for regulars who had earned that extra favor. The after-work crowd filled the aisles, kids darting between racks while parents scanned box covers, hunting for something everyone could agree on. Some customers spent 20 minutes reading blurbs, circling the store, weighing comedies against action flicks, while a line formed at the counter and the phone kept ringing. Behind the register, you moved fast, checking in returns, restocking shelves, answering questions, and making snap recommendations. A regular, Mrs. Alvarez, would appear every Friday, and before she could ask, her favorite sci-fi title was already waiting under the counter with her name on a slip. That was the unspoken system. The best customers got the best treatment, even if it meant bending the rules. The evening rush brought out the best and worst in people. Some thanked you for a perfect pick. Others argued over late fees, convinced the tape had been returned on time. A few tried to talk their way out of a charge, but the ledger did not lie. Every transaction was a negotiation, over taste, over time, over a couple of dollars. When the store was packed, you had to know your inventory by heart, match a title to a mood in seconds, and keep your cool when the pressure was on. This was the hour when being a clerk meant being part matchmaker, part referee, and part local celebrity, all at once. Most clerks started at minimum wage, $3.35 an hour for much of the 80s. In some big cities or chain stores, $1 more was not unheard of, but nobody got rich behind the counter. Part-time hours were the rule, and full-time meant you probably had keys and a title. Like assistant manager, earning maybe $6 or $7 an hour, with the added bonus of closing up alone at midnight. Health insurance? Not a chance. The real perks were free rentals and first dibs on new releases, which felt like gold if you loved movies but did not pay the rent. Standing all day wore you down. The floors were hard, and your back ached after a double shift, especially on weekends when the crowds never let up. You learned to move fast, keep your cool, and swallow your frustration when someone yelled about late fees or a tape that would not play. Some nights you left with the sound of rewinders buzzing in your ears, and your hands smelling faintly of plastic and carpet cleaner. By the late 80s, everything started to change. Blockbuster opened its first store in 1985, and within a few years, blue and yellow signs replaced local names in strip malls across the country. Regional managers came through with new rules and eventually barcode scanners. One manager remembered the day the scanner arrived. He said they used to know every tape by heart. Now you just scan it and let the computer do the rest. The handwritten ledgers and membership cards went into storage, and so did a lot of the old pride in knowing your inventory front to back. The job got less personal, more mechanical. Chains consolidated, independents closed, and by the time Netflix started mailing DVDs in the 2000s, it was clear the end had come. By 2010, video stores were nearly extinct. Streaming finished what Blockbuster started. The Clerk job, a mix of film geekery, retail grind, and neighborhood gossip, simply vanished. For those who worked it, the memory lingers, but the world moved on. Today, recommendations come from algorithms, not people who know your taste by heart. The video clerk's job vanished, but our craving for connection and curation remains. As we stream endlessly, we're still searching for that perfect pick, just without someone behind the counter who remembers your name. Thanks for watching.